Me 30 with my boyfriend 32 of 3.5 years. I broke down and made a pros/con list, and am embarrassed by the cons and concern. I've posted here before, but essentially I've been struggling for months with when to make the decision to end things. I know it sounds stupid, but I finally broke down and made a list. The problem is that the day today is fine. We joke. We laugh. We have deep conversations. We make dinner for each other. We say nice things. But I've had this serious anxiety about the future, and I think I've nailed down why. Pros, similar senses of humour, similar music. Television and movie tastes, we can be goofy together. We take turns cooking for each other, and cleaning the kitchen nightly. We travel well together once we get to the destination. We're on a plane. We are both similarly active, similarly financially responsible. He always sticks up for someone if they're ever bullied, even at work. In the adult sense of the word, same political views and interest in politics, similar preference in activities X, camping, concerts, hiking, breweries. He loves my If I suggest an activity that isn't one of his most favourite things, for example, if I suggest a date night to do a craft, or board game or die, project, or a walk, he will say no. He says yes, but doesn't mean it. So I will say want to go on a big trip, pre-COVID, and he will say yes. But months later, I find out he means no. He's flipped-flopped on kids, which I know is a deal-breaker by itself. He moved from maybe no to probably yes, which concerns me. Just tell me if you don't think so. I'm 30 and deserve to know. He is not comfortable being totally naked. See, never nude from Arrested Development. He doesn't do much foreplay, like more than 15-30 seconds. Unless it's like an anniversary or day. Yes, we've talked about this several times, and he doesn't like foreplay, so it doesn't occur to him, and says I should ask every time. I say just assume I want. He shuts down during hard convos. Well, he used to. He would get mad and stomp off, and refuse to have a calm, rational discussion even if we both cooled down. Now he placates me by saying I hear you and agree, and refuses to discuss further. This one is the worst one. I'm starting to think he is selfish. How do come back from that? I feel like he's staring at his phone a lot, and he can't focus on me and the phone, so I usually lose out. His mum is incredibly difficult, as in all of his siblings set hard boundaries, and they so see it, and he legitimately doesn't often see it, which could lead to major issues down the line. He lets his mum manipulate his siblings against each other and falls for it every time. If he's stressed about work, he's totally quiet and cold, and it ruins the evening. No warning. We've talked about it several tunes, and it's sort of better. He mostly vents now. He isn't very supportive of my creative side business. He says he will do therapy, but then makes every excuse not to, and was raised by a therapist he respects. I like a short shoulder rub, and I ask maybe twice a month, and it's been probably 10 months since he gave me one. I just pay someone now. The issue is he will say I'm going to give you a massage, and it's meaningless. He doesn't do it. He has to pick what we eat and watch. I didn't notice at first because I'm pretty laid back and will watch or eat most anything, but after 2 years of living together, I'm exhausted. I've mentioned this several times, and he will be open for a few days, then nothing. Not that we are in a position to think about the future, but he certainly never mentioned it. I once asked if he ever thinks about the future, and he said no, but I would be happy to start. He won't initiate, saying I love you no matter how many times I've asked for it, or asked to understand why he can't. He says it back, just won't initiate, and verbal is my love language. He doesn't really do romantic gestures. I often will pick up items I think he might like, and he doesn't do this. I ask for random flowers, but I do get them on day. He allows self-esteem issues to get in the way. He's the most handsome person I've ever dated by like a million, but I know that doesn't mean he doesn't have a strut. But he will think these wild ideas that have no truth, like I did our Christmas card on a tripod shoot, and I positioned us to get a cool composition, and he decided I was trying to keep the camera far away from him, because I was ashamed of him. Bizarre. After this convo, I was like, I get excited before we have a weekend trip, because he always forces it to be hours late. He won't have started laundry or he will have lied about taking a half day. He's not respectful of my time commitments, so if I say I'm going to be somewhere, he doesn't care. His family plans must like the day before, and mine does far out, and I know my family is extreme. But I want to give them an idea of when we will show up. I'm mentally exhausted by this internal struggle of weighing all of the above. He doesn't take care of me when I'm sick. He's just like, oh, I'm sorry. I don't mean weight on me hand and foot at all, but like I grab him Gatorade and meds, and he doesn't do them unless I am really sick and ask. When we hike, he goes so fast, I can't keep up, and once I fell, and I was crying. And he had no clue because he just totally leaves me behind, and I'm an experienced fast hiker compared to your average person. My family and friends, we look out for each other. When we hike, obviously some weighty comes there. I recognize that some are deal breakers and some wouldn't matter if I was overall happy. I know that I can just leave any time, but my question is, am I being unfair, unkind in my judgments and only focusing on the negative? I've never lived with a partner before, but had great roommate situations, and I worry I'm throwing away the good based on focusing on the negative. Too long, don't read. I finally sat down and did pros and cons and had twice as many cons in my relationship. I've been going crazy trying to decide what the heck to do. Difference in length between pros and cons says a lot, but also the quality of the pros and cons. Those are pros you can find in a lot of people. It doesn't sound like he's trying to do any better for you, and that is the biggest red flag. Do you think you'd be happier with someone who will at least pretend to be interested in meeting your needs? He's made it clear he isn't interested in doing anything for you. Giving up having kids for a lifetime of crappy sex with someone who lies to you constantly and won't even bring you Gatorade when you're sick unless you beg sounds like a really crappy deal. My concern is, really seems he's not trying to improve, in which case the negatives are only going to increase. The food thing alone, not allowing you to choose to eat something different from what he chose, that one alone would drive me batty. And I personally wouldn't be able to tolerate just one thing with a partner.